Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's Livestream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream. All right, welcome to Joshua Kemble's Livestream, episode 326. Frank said, it's Josh. Frank, if you want to hop on, feel free to let me know. I can send you a link. I am going to be working on comics again today because we finished the book. Jim Lujan said, hey there, early bird. How are you? I'm doing okay. I feel like I ran a marathon. So I did a 32-page children's book in a matter of a week with my wife. So we have a couple little revisions to do, but the client's pretty happy. They're very mild revisions, so my wife's going to be working on pencils for those little sections. I'll show you guys a sneak preview of just like everything I got accomplished in the last few days. Jim, if you want to hop on too, you're welcome, although I'm guessing you're at work. So the last few days have just been like no sleep, like, basically taking like a power nap for an hour and then waking up and working on a page, and then a power nap for an hour, wake up, work on a page until we finished it, which is really exciting. I love how it came out. I'm going to show you guys a preview of that in like a second. But aside from that, I also had to take a drug test and a fingerprinting and stuff like that to get everything lined up for substituting for art classes, which is going to be my kind of fill-in job in the interim because it's close. And then let's see, some other exciting stuff happened. There's a website called Canvas Rebel that I think Paul Pate recommended talk to me. I think they'd interviewed him before, and so I did an interview with them. I should add a link to that on my website. Maybe later today I'll do that. But if you just look up Canvas Rebel, Joshua Kemble, you can see that interview. And then I also had this wonderful opportunity through Graphic Mundi where ALA, the graphic novel library kind of club or whatever, did this thing where they were having creators get carded kind of event where different comic book creators all throughout the country basically show off their library cards. So I did that as well. So the last like 7 days, even though I haven't been streaming, have been insane. And partially because I've been working at such strange hours, it just didn't make sense to live stream while doing a lot of this stuff. So instead, I just listened to a lot of drama on the internet. There's a really funny, if you guys are ever bored and you want to see some just funny, interesting drama relating to comics, there's a comedian named Dick Masterson who's been doing comedy shows for years. He's very right-leaning, but he's funny. And he basically has started trolling Eric July, the comic creator that a lot of you guys might be familiar with. He's somewhat tied in with like the Comicsgate scene. And a couple of years back, he raised like, or maybe it was about a year ago, he raised like millions of dollars for like one comic issue. And everybody was lauding this as like, oh my gosh, this guy in the Rippaverse is going to like take over the world in comics. And needless to say, like a lot of Comicsgate stuff It turns out the comic really wasn't that good. Like the writing was just really bad, which is what Eric July is being criticized for by Dick Masterson, who's a right leaning guy, and so him and his co-host for about a year and a half have been like saying like, oh, the co-host of one of his shows was saying like, "Oh, this comic's awful. It's going to be awful." And Dick Masterson was like, which by the way is a fake name. Like he's not actually named Dick Masterson, but he was defending Eric July and just kind of expecting like this is going to be a great thing. This is a good thing because he's right leaning and he's kind of more supportive of like Comics Gate type stuff, which anybody who watches my show knows I'm not a big proponent of that. I feel like comics have been political for years. I think like whatever stripe of political leaning you have is going to be represented in your art. And obviously I lean left, but I read a lot of creators that lean right. I'd never really felt like it was a big deal, partially because I've followed indie comics for like 20 years. So I've been reading indie comics forever. Never felt like mainstream comics are doing anything incredible. So like the whole, anyhow, if you guys get bored, you can look into my take on it. But there was all this drama, and it's very hilarious because at the end of the day, like what happened is this guy Dick Masterson read the comic and was like, "This comic just kind of sucks. Like it just kind of sucks." So he did a critique of it, and then Eric July responded like he does, like a lot of the Comics Gate guys do, to criticism really poorly. Because this is a thing about Comicsgate that I noticed early on. It's part of why I kind of denounced it years ago. It's like this weird thing of like they participate in the very kinds of behaviors that they criticize. Like, for instance, they used to complain that mainstream comics shut down criticism and they only preach one political ideology. And yet with Comicsgate, if you like openly or publicly like criticize like one comic, or you say, hey, like the writing wasn't so good in this comic or something like that, you have like the internet hate mob of the right like kind of come at you and shut you down and like call you all sorts of names and stuff like that. So anyhow, surprise, surprise, like somebody on their side, a right leaning guy, criticizes, who's a pretty public figure, criticizes the comic. And what do you know? Eric July is like basically doing videos, basically telling people like, what was it that he said? It was so funny. I think it was something like roll up, pull up. Like he's telling him to like, he's like trying to challenge him to a fight because the guy just didn't like the writing in his comic. And there are two comedians that have just been riffing on it. They were intending to do it for like one episode, but it's blown up into this like gigantic thing where now Eric July's team, like it's like a gang fight online where Eric July's team is like flipping out and like attacking Dick Masterson's team. And then Dick Masterson's like in turn just continually been making fun of the comic to the point where anyhow, I don't want to get into it too much because like this is going to be a chill stream. I'm just going to work on art, but it's very funny drama to kind of look into. So what ended up happening is some of the comedians that are tied in with Dick Masterson noticed that Eric July has like crazy arm hair. Like he has like hair on his arms. And so they started making jokes that they're gonna that somebody needs to take hair clippers to his arm hair. And part of why they went personal with it too is like Eric July's common response to anybody who critiques him is like, well, you're just fat. It's like, so they were like, okay, if you're going to get personal and insult people's personal appearances, dude, you have hairy arms. So they made this joke that I guess Eric July's thing is called the Rippaverse. And they made a joke about it saying like, you know what, we're going to start the Clippaverse, which is like hair clippers to shave your arms. So a friend of Dick Masterson makes this is a long, hilarious thing. And I was watching this while I was working on comics again. Actually working on this kid's book, which I'll show you a preview of in a second. But long story short, Eric July DMCA's the Clippaverse t-shirts that these comedians are selling. Like he gives them a copyright claim, which is a fraudulent copyright claim, right? Because anybody can do parody of a public thing. Like parody law is pretty like wildly protective of that kind of thing. But still, of course, they're going to be taken down by the website because the legal cost to like protect something in a lawsuit is just entirely expensive. So what ends up happening is they get their store pulled and their Twitter pulled down, and they're kind of like a nobody, but they're a friend of Dick Masterson's, who has this happen because all the Rippaverse people like flip out and go after him. What ends up happening after that, that I think is hilarious, is somebody in Dick Masterson's crowd notices that ISOM, which is the name of Eric July's property, is actually owned by a church called the International School of Ministry. And so they kind of send a letter to the International School of Ministry saying, "Hey, that's nice of you to lend your copyright to Eric July for these like Rippaverse comics." And what ends up happening is the International School of Ministry then writes to Eric July and is like, "Dude, you can't use our copyright for your name." Nice. Frank said, "Making Krembleverse t-shirts now. You should." Although Krembleverse, Kremble, not Crumble. Although Crumble could work. I guess Crumble could be my other persona. Anyhow, so it's hilarious because there's now like a church that's trying to protect their copyright and attacking Eric July for using their trademark, which he probably should have looked into before he named his character a trademarked thing. And now you have Eric July blaming Dick Masterson, who didn't do this like one of his fans did, because and also hypocritically being mad about a DMCA kind of thing, whereas he started the whole DMCA strike thing. And so it's like this funny just infight that I'm watching on the sidelines because again, I've never been a comic skate guy. I've never really cared. My thought on it is like, just make good comics, and I don't care what political leanings you have. I lean left, you lean right, maybe. Cool, make good comics, make good art, and that should be everybody's response to criticism or anything like that. Like if you have an idea that you see in comics or in movies that you do better, then great, go out there and do it yourself, and like prove it with the actions. But I will say, as somebody who's never really been a fan of the Comicsgate thing, because I don't think they're doing anything that exciting or new. I think they're making a lot of money, and I think a lot of it's like on the premise of like you should give it's kind of like I think it's a scam where it's like, hey, give me money, it'll own the libs, and a lot of people with a lot of money want to own the libs. So if you can play that route to make a lot of money for your comics, hey, more power to you. It's hard to make a living as an artist, but anyhow, point being, it's very funny, and if you ever want to go down the rabbit hole, it's a very funny thing. I think right now there's like a whole thing with Eric July had for some reason called Dick Masterson Buckster Baxter or something from like which I wouldn't have even known that name except that I have a kid who watches Arthur, and I guess it's like the bunny character from Arthur. And so now Dick Masterson's people are like trolling Eric July with like bunny icons and emojis. It's interesting. It's funny. Whatever way you lean, it's internet drama, and it's been kind of funny to watch. So that was what I was paying attention to and listening to and kind of stuff like that while I was getting these pages done. So let me show you these beautiful children's book pages, and then we'll get into working on comics. And I should send Frank. I should send Frank an invite. But it's been funny because I've, like I don't agree politically with Dick Masterson, but I've always found him very funny, the comedian, and and so I've been like listening to his podcast for like a long time. He's somebody on the right that I've listened to forever, and it was funny to see this weird thing of like I've always been kind of annoyed with Comicsgate ever since like I got literally threatened by followers of Comicsgate, telling me that if I spoke up against Comicsgate, that they would send a hate mob against me. Um, and I've never had that experience in my life online ever about anything from left or right. And so, of course, when I got that like kind of threat or whatever, I responded in kind by like doing like 3 videos of like, I don't want to join your stupid movement. It's dumb. And here's half the reasons why it it was kind of working. Why basically I think it's a hoax and I'm not going to support that kind of nonsense, because like I like my art because it's good art. I don't like my art because it owns the right or the left. I don't care. I could care less whether something owns the right or the left. um just make good stories, and then hey, guess what, like you'll make good stories and then you'll make your point. But anyhow, my point being, it's funny to see these two worlds that have been so separate just start to collide of content that I've found interesting. And it's funny to see the crossover, because again, I also follow Destiny, who's like a political streamer online, and even Destiny's gotten involved with this because he does stuff with Dick Masterson. And there was a stream where Destiny and Eric July ended up on like a panel. And the entire time, the chats were like asking questions that were making fun of Eric July the entire time, and they were all coming from Dick Masterson's crowd. So it's a funny drama, and I'd encourage you guys to check it out. I think it's hilarious. And more power to it. So and also, like, honestly, if you're going around copyright striking people, don't get mad if somebody copyright strikes you. Like, that's just, I don't know, like, especially if you're copywriting people for parody. It just seems like you're asking for it. So I don't know. It's been interesting to watch. It's been very funny. And so that's a little bit of a weird drama that I've been paying attention to while working on comics. Let me send Frank an invite here in case Frank wants to hop on. So yeah, so today, like, basically, now that I've caught up on stuff, I've basically done revisions for a t-shirt design for a client, and then I've done this children's book, and now my goal is to, let me find Frank here. All right, Frank sent you a link. So now my goal is to rock. Oh, nice. Frank said Crumble is my parody of Kremble. Nice. I like it. I like that as an alter ego as well. Let me just show this real quick. This was a drawing by Mr. Salazar. I think this is, oh, not that one though. It's from a joke. That's from another joke. There it is. Tremble before the Kremble. It's getting blocked though, so let me move it over here. There we go. Tremble before the Kremble. That was Frank Salazar's Kremble art. That's right. So anyhow, let's show the kids book stuff, and then let's get into working on comics. I now need to play catch up on my graphic novel, and I'm excited about it. All right, so what do we got? We got here. Okay. Woohoo. Okay, I'm going to show you guys really quickly just a brief little glimpse at what I did. They want my credited on the cover because they want it to be kind of seen as like an all women kind of scenario. So I'm going to be credited on the interiors. But anyhow, my drew this, and then I did all the type and the color. So there's the cover. Let's find. Okay, so here's our interior. This will be like the first page. And then we're just going to go through it very quickly because I don't want to give away too many spoilers. This is a later page. And I did some of these on stream. So let's get rid of some of these extras. So there's the first spread when you open the book. And then we'll just keep going through it in order. Here's the second spread. This is like of Hattie, the character, watching the golfers. And then we're going to find, this is the, we were going for like a little golden book look. So this is the third spread. I love this one. To me, this felt like the most like a little golden book. And then let's go to the fourth spread. This was like insane. We drew, like, we literally did this starting Friday. and wrapped it up by the end of the weekend. So this is a 5th spread. And then let's just keep going. This is a sneak preview. So I'll show you guys, and I'll give you guys like a link to where you can order this book too if you want to. We got Frank coming in. Frank, I'm gonna just show the rest of this. Hold on a sec. Let me add you. Okay. Hey, how's it going?
I'm in the shadows.
What's up?
I'm in the shadows.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Like what you need now is like a voice changer so you can be like, like, you know, I don't know if that, you know, because it looks like a shot from like a documentary where you'd be talking about something.
Well, yeah, that's what it looks like. Like I'm going to do an expose.
Yeah, yeah. We're just like Kemble is a mastermind killer. I can guarantee it. Okay, let me see if I can find a thing because I want to. Okay, so I'm gonna just show this real quick, and then I'll pull you on, Frank, in a second once I'm done showing these. I just want to show people what we got done over the weekend. So this was a crazy one. This is like her little house and stuff, and I think we might be revising some of the photos in the photo frames. And then let's see here. We're almost there. So this was the next. It's kind of crazy that we just did this over the weekend, but so this is the next spread. I really like the little golden book look and how it came out. You know, this is the next spread. And then one more, and then we'll have our guest, Frank Salazar, on, who is probably working on something really cool. So this was the next spread. And one more. Sorry about this, Frank. I am going to be working on stuff where I can chat and hang out, though. So I'm excited about that. This was the next spread. And then this was all done over the weekend. The next spread, kind of looking for that little golden book vibe, all while checking out that hilarious drama I was talking about. The next spread, and then the next spread, view extras. And then I think we have like 3 more to go. And if you guys are like, man, this is kind of boring, I'm looking at a lot of stuff. This is all stuff we had to do over the weekend. I literally slept I think it was like 2 days ago. It was Tuesday where I finished it. And I literally just crashed and slept the entire day to kind of catch up. Because we started most of this on Friday. This is the next spread. This one was kind of fun. I tried to change the sky color every once in a while just to like have it have variety and stuff like that. And then the close to the last spread, this is now like, all of them heading to the golf course. And then the second to last spread. And by the time I was here, it was like 2 a.m. on Tuesday. And I was like, thank God, I'm done. I'm almost done. So this is the second to last. And then the very last here, which has just these little spot illustrations. And that's it. So yeah, that's what I did. And now what I'm going to be working on is this, which is page 85 of the, let me see if I can get out of here now. Yay. Okay. Now we have Frank. How's it going, Frank?
Hey, good. Not bad.
Nice. Jim said the book looks truly amazing. Really well done. Thanks. Yeah. My rocked the pencils and it was fun to work in that style. I haven't worked on like kids illustrations in a while, so it was fun. So, what you been up to, Frank?
A few things. I went to the Mormon temple opening over the weekend here. It was open to the public Saturday was the last day, so I went there with my kids.
Oh, nice. That's like tour days, right? Where they kind of let you see.
Yes, my kids
So you
and
didn't
their
need like a
family were.
secret handshake to get in.
No, not this time.
Okay.
My oldest son, he's 12, so he's a member of the LDS, and he has the recommend the card to get in.
Oh, okay.
So they invited me, and I went because I just want to spend time with the kids. But it was nice looking at the temple inside.
Yeah, that's great. So how much of the temple are you able to see?
I maybe like 80%. I'm not sure because I've never been inside as a recommend carrying member because I used to be
Okay.
a member of the LDS, but I know there's like little sections that I think what was like there's like a dressing room, so we weren't able to see that. There's like some other rooms you weren't able to go in there, but I think like the main areas, I was able to see those, and we just kind of walk around.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, they had some nice paintings, some nice architecture. So I do like how they made the outside. It looked a little bit more for this area, like
Okay.
a little bit more of a Hispanic influence.
Okay.
So it looks like something from like an old style Mexican villa or
Okay.
like a nice fancy Mexican restaurant.
Did they serve Mexican food while you were there too?
No, I don't suffer.
Come on, step it up, guys. Step it up.
But I I've been playing a RPG on the forum that so it's my first official game where I'm playing. So I made my
Wait,
character.
on a forum?
Yes, so there's different ways that you can play, and there was this one guy that I met from the Basic Fantasy Discord, and he said he's starting a PBF play by forum game, and I said like, oh, there's room. I'd like to be in it, and so he started. There was enough interest that he started a second game. So it's I think it's like 4 or 5 of us.
Oh, cool.
And I just posted today my post for the day. So it's just barely starting. We're barely getting out of the cell that we found ourselves in. So like we're just trying to escape right now.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
I made my character. He's a cleric, and as an homage, I named him Leffy Jefferty after Jeff Lafferty.
Nice.
So I did my character card.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Jeff the cleric.
Will be Leffy.
I feel like Jeff should be a cleric. That's what I think. That sounds really fun. So is that through like a forum that's specifically about like role playing?
Yes, it's called RPG Geek.
Oh, cool.
So in their post, you can roll the dice there. So it was just trying to figure out like, hey, how do I do this? Because it's a lot of you click this, and not really HTML, but if you want to color, you look for color and type in and bold and type this and slash bold, and I was like, I haven't done this in a while. I was like trying to figure all that out, and then I did my character.
That sounds fun though, and that's cool that you're able to do that because you're kind of just getting interested in it, and it is a lot more fun when you're able to like RPG with other players,
Yes,
for sure. So that's awesome.
So I'm using that as practice. I can kind of see how things are done, even though it's typing. But the GM, like he'll talk about the rolls he has to do, like the rolling of the dice. It's like, okay, so for this you roll, for that you roll, and just the judgments that he makes. because I want to learn like that first because it is there's no setup for me. Like I
Yeah.
don't need to like go get this, go get that. All I had to do was just type in my character sheet, and I didn't even have to work on a backstory or do any art. But I did that because I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So, but that way, because I want to put together a little game just for us art casters,
Oh, you need
and
to.
I'm trying to figure out. Getting notifications here. Like a short campaign that would like interest everyone.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at the settings that we're in. So I'm actually not allowed to look at that book because it'll reveal what's coming up in the game we're playing. But I have another one that I can look at. But I'm thinking making something a little bit more art related, just because it's a lot of artists. So I'm thinking about doing having a setting of a creative school, and in that school there's a little factions. So
Oh, nice.
so there will be wizards going to a school and using technology because I want to kind of implement uh, something like an iPad or an Android where that will be your spell book and those stylus will be your wand. Uh, so you can draw out something and the wizard can whoosh, make it appear.
Yeah. I love
Or
it.
even like a traditional, but I thought something just since it would be us, like it's something that we would kind of get a kick out of. Uh, just something for fun. I've been thinking of doing some a few classes because the four main ones are like the official ones, and people can do like extra ones, but
Yeah.
that's like as your preference. So I was looking, and there isn't anything from what I was for what I was looking for. It's like okay, I can make a couple of classes because I'm thinking an inventor, which someone creative can use for crafting or building other things, and you have an artist also, so they can be hire themselves out as a calligrapher
Yeah. Oh, did I
or do you
freeze?
know it. I
Oh,
don't know
I
if it was
think
on my
I
end.
freezed or you froze. Did you freeze or did I freeze?
I'm not sure. It just went black really quickly and it came back on.
Oh, okay, okay. Cool. Oh, speaking of the art casters too, I should mention this. I know I pissed off Gib a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago, but I still want to support his stuff. So I want to share this. Let me see if I can, because I have backed this, and I think everybody should. Um, oh gosh, this is the wrong one. Hang on. Darn it. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Let's share this. Present. Share screen. Here it is. Horrible Tales.
Oh, yeah.
This is the wrong thing. Hang on a second. Again, I'm like getting
That's
real old. Like I'm okay. Let's I am such a boomer with this stuff. Okay, hang on. Share screen. It is here. There it is. Okay, this should be the right one. Okay, so this is Horrible Tales by Gibran Redinger, and it is a collection of like a bunch of awesome short comics that Jib did, and it's awesome. So I encourage you guys to check that out and support it. He's at like almost like half of the way there. So I think he just needs like a couple more backers. I'd encourage you guys to check it out. It's very funny, very risque, but in a very funny way. And if you guys are familiar with Gibran, his humor is always like he's always on point with humor when they do the art cast with him and Jeff. So I would encourage you guys to check that out. And also, I've seen what the book looks like, and it looks really cool, like old school, kind of. Yeah, I don't know anything I'm missing on that, Frank, for helping mention Gibbs thing. Um,
No, I think that's it. Like a lot,
Horrible Tales.
if you've
There you go.
seen Doom Barbarian, so that's his type of art style. But he, uh, where I've seen there, it's like it's like it's really good art.
Yeah, yeah, and like you can get different things. Like he also does music, and it's actually really good music. So you can actually get like a cassette and the comic for like $20. There's all sorts of really cool things on there. So I think you guys got to get out there and support Gib. Yeah.
When's the last day for that? Because
I think there's only 10 days left, and it feels to me like we can do better. We can do better and back it. So get out there and back it. That's all I have to say. So hopefully maybe we can mention it on Artcasters too. I'm not sure who our guest is tonight, so we'll see. But
you're doing one tonight.
I think so. It's weird. We switched from Thursdays to like Sundays to Thursdays again. So I don't know. I'll have to reach out to Scott and see if we're doing tonight. But I think so. I think it'll be Scott's guest.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah. But I've been like out of the loop for the last 7 days because again, like doing that whole 32-page book in like 5 days was a little much for me. I'm not really fast, so for me that was kind of insane. But it also reinvigorated me to like really hit the comic hard, you know, because when you work like really crazy hours on something, it like kind of unlocks like what you're able to do, and it's like okay, so I probably can't sustain that level of like work for 6 hours, sleep for 1 hour, work for 6 hours, sleep for 1 hour. That would be unsustainable. But I can work a little harder than I've been. So I'm planning on like, you know, with this comic kind of hitting it a little harder than I have been.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of what I need to do because I kind of like trailed off a bit.
Yeah.
And I'll do little stuff here, but like no, I need to just like sit down and get out pages.
Yeah, and I'm like, if I could do 32 pages in 7 days or whatever, I can do, you know, at least 2 pages a week for this book and not like die doing it, you know. So that's what I'm planning on kind of implementing so that I can get through this book because I'd like to get this knocked out as well. And it feels good, man. Like you have that moment of finishing things, and it feels pretty good. I noticed that that you've been having more speaking things going on. Yeah, so tell us about that.
All right. So
Jim said you're bathed in heavenly light.
thank
True.
you. So I'm a member of the Toastmasters International, the section here in my area, and I'm also the president of our local club. So it's been helping a lot just getting myself out there. And I was practicing a speech for a suicide awareness event, but it wasn't for sure that I was going to speak. And I found out later that they already had their speakers. So like, okay, so, but I was still able to practice a lot of my speaking. And I do want to refine that speech a little bit more. So I'll probably practice it next week in the club. But we've been getting more members and more visitors, which is good. So I've been posting that on my Facebook.
Awesome.
And on the Toastmasters Facebook for the area because they gave me access. I can post stuff there too.
Oh, cool.
And we're having an open house in one of the other clubs is doing an open house, and they've invited all the ones in the area. So if there's new members and there's people that, well, I can't go to this one, but there's this one here, maybe we'll get some spillover members and
nice.
We'll start growing.
Have you
But yeah,
thought of like doing live streams of the Toastmasters thing, or would that like defeat the purpose of it? Because I would think that would be a really cool thing to have uh like Toastmasters like practice sessions where you're like doing speeches or whatever like on air, you know. But that I don't know. To me, that's like something like the moth kind of thing that I was telling you about, you know. I think it might be interesting.
I think for that, because it depends on the group and on the people,
Yeah.
because some people want to practice something in private, and also some might be practicing for a contest.
Oh, got
So,
it.
or something that they're going to present and it's not ready to be presented in the public.
Oh, that
But
makes sense. So it's kind of like you're practicing for other events, so it'd be weird to make that an event. Yeah,
yeah.
that actually makes a lot of sense. That's cool.
So what I do, and I didn't do it this last time, but what I usually do is when I know I'm going to speak, I'll set my phone to record my audio,
Nice.
and that way I can go back and listen to it. And so what I do, I'll turn that into a video, and I'll just put like a random picture, and I'll upload that, and I'll send it either unlisted at first, and I'll send it to some people like, hey, how does this sound, or do you have any suggestions of what I could add or something? And if I like it enough, then I can just post it. This is a practice speech that I'm doing. So I've done that. I did that recently on the one that I was doing for suicide awareness.
Yeah.
I want to redo that one because I got some critiques from the club. They're like, okay, I can fix this and I can wrap the end a little bit better because you're also timed.
Yeah.
So
that's
I
where
rushed
I would
the ending
just
a little bit.
bomb so bad because anytime I try to do timed things, I either go way too fast or way too slow, or way too long,
Yeah, and that's why you pre-practice because when you're giving a speech in public, you're not always going to have a timer. So if you're able to gauge, okay, I spoke this much last time and it was around this minute, so I think it's about time to start wrapping it up or something.
And you also have like those little tricks up your sleeve, like you're like, okay, if this goes too long at this point, I can do this condensed version or what, like you have some stuff in your back pocket to like be prepped. That's great. Like that's a great skill to have. Yeah, it's weird. I'm supposed to talk to a class like next month, and luckily it's just kind of talk to them about your experience in art and stuff like that. And so I'm like, okay, that's cool. But if it was like not an entire like it's going to be the whole class session, so it's like a couple hours. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. But if it was like you have 10 minutes to talk about your career, I'd be like, oh crap, And I think that like having a thing like Toastmasters or something like that is like super helpful for that because it's like, dude, it is hard to, it's hard without practice to like do a really concise speech,
And we were asked recently for a high school to go in and do a workshop there, an 8-week workshop. So it's going to be my club plus other people from the other clubs have expressed interest, but I'm going to be there kind of learn it.
Yeah.
And I'll probably teach one of the classes because it'll be 8 weeks. So I'm not sure how.
Is that paid or is that just like voluntary?
It's voluntary. It's for what do they call it? Youth leadership. So
nice.
So we're teaching it to the classes, to the schools.
Yeah.
So that way, those students, and they want to do it continuously next year and the year after that. There was actually a student that reached out to one of the distinguished Toastmasters members, which she's in the club that I'm in. She's actually the founder and the mentor for that club.
Oh, nice.
So I get a lot of knowledge and wisdom from her.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. But it's being able to teach the students at a young age public speaking and just how to present yourself, and that's going to help them during school and after school is over, after high school and in jobs and everything. So
yeah, I mean, I knew some people in high school who did Toastmasters and stuff, and like it is very helpful for like honing that skill, you know. Because I did a lot of debate and mock trial and stuff like that, and a lot of people in debate and mock trial would do Toastmasters just to get better at, you know, public speaking. That's awesome.
Yeah, and what I noticed is that at least for my club, the ones I've seen,
yeah,
a lot of the ones there are introverts, so they want to get better at speaking in public. So I think that's really cool. That's something like, oh, you know, you're shy, you want to.
Yeah, it gives you a little more confidence. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. I think, man, like I don't know. I think that could benefit a lot of people, you know, for sure, including me. I think for me, it would be like practicing and being concise and not rambling.
Well, Josh, we do have hybrid meetings where we meet on Zoom as well.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I can send you a link for one of our next meetings if you just want to jump in and just kind of like get a feel of it and practice something if you want to practice.
Nice.
You don't have to worry about paying. Like, I just want people to go.
Nice. That sounds fun. Yeah, I'd be interested, man.
Although our times might be different because our club meets at 12 noon.
Yeah.
So that's
I feel like, Frank, when you talk about the club, though, you should start doing it like a hip hop song where you're just like, you can find me at the club. And people are like, oh, man, Frank's all about the club. And it turns out you're talking about Toastmasters.
We at the club today.
You're like, man, things are going down at the club. And it's
rocking
like,
some new words today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lots of topics at the table.
That's awesome. Actually, it would be funny too if the Toastmasters meeting, you guys are just like pouring, you know, alcohol all over the place, and it's like this just debaucherous club, and it's like, what is going on here?
Someone did ask what Toastmasters mean, so I explained that.
I mean, everybody knows that it's like, you know, there's a way to toast bread perfectly, and it originates like talking about, you know, how some people overly burn their toast, some people, you know, do it light and perfect.
You want to master your toast.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with making a toast. Yeah, it's about making a toast, but making like a bread toast, right? Am I wrong? Yeah. Am I crazy on that?
Well, you can come to the meeting and find out.
Okay. Should I go in there and be like, guys, I just came here to find out how to toast bread perfect? Like, just act all pissed off. Like, oh, man, every time I think I'm going to figure out how to perfectly toast my bread, it's another speaking engagement.
We've heard all the jokes. I've
is that a common one? That's probably a pretty easy go-to.
Yeah. I've held back from making that joke because like it's
yeah.
And then someone else made it to me like okay.
You're like it's kind of like the obvious joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that.
And I'll mention it and then some people roll their eyes like it's
yeah. It's kind of like if you work at the Sausage King. I remember on campus at Cal State Long Beach, there was a venue called the Sausage King. It was like just a food place that made sausages. But every time I went by there, I was like, how many people make a bad joke about that name? Because, you know, any sort of hot dog place, there's inevitably going to be some pretty lewd humor that comes to mind. And I was like realizing like that must be hell working for the Sausage King, you know.
Or even talking about just sausage in general and like pizza. It happened to me a few times where I'm like, "Oh, what do you want on your pizza?" Like, I like some sausage, and they're like, "Haha, Franco, seriously, I want sausage."
You're like, no, I'm legitimately would like some sausage.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's always a tough one.
it's a topping. Look, it's meat. I'm tired of pepperoni. I want something a little bit more texture.
Now I want pizza, Frank. Thanks for talking about pizza. Now I
Yeah,
want it.
I want pizza too. I want pizza. Also, I'm making a little terrain for myself, so like a little grid map.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
so I can put like some minis here, and so I'll paint it gray. I made this the other day.
Oh, nice.
It's a foam.
Is that like a door?
Yes.
A doorway? Nice. And it's painted black?
So I
I
painted
see.
black and
Oh,
gray and brown, and I put some black ink and paint on the inside so you can kind of see the archway.
that's pretty rad, man.
And this is some foam that came in a 3D pen I had ordered, and it eventually broke, but I had the little foam thing that was in, so like, you know what, I can cut this up. And
Are 3D pens, those are like it's like a plastic kind of ink thing, right? That'll just draw or something, or
yeah, it's like a hot glue gun,
yeah.
but instead of like the glue, it's a harder plastic. So when it dries, it's a little bit just a little bit harder. And so I had one, and I would make all this stuff. Actually, that's where I made the Captain goggles. I mean the Captain Courage gauntlet.
Nice.
So that's just 3D pen over. But now they're not as popular. You can get some really cheap ones, but I had one really cheap and it broke in a few hours. So
Uh,
but
I
then
feel
I
like at
said,
some point I'd like to own a 3D printer, but then like the downside of owning a 3D printer would be having to learn 3D modeling, which to me is just not super interesting. I have friends who've delved into it, and I've had to edit 3D models for like my day job before, but it's like I don't know, like
well,
something about 3D
there's
modeling
models you
programs.
can download or something that you can buy, and you can just print out your stuff, and you can, if you know how to edit, you can edit them.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I don't know. Yeah, it would be fun. It would be fun to learn. It would actually be really cool to learn. Because imagine, like doing a convention and you could actually print up toys of your
Yes, and that's something
characters.
I want to do. Like, I want to be able to. I think even just making the STL file.
Yeah,
Uh, so I want to have like a Captain Goggles and Captain Courage and Masterson figures.
yeah.
I can just like have 3D printed, even if like I'll just pay someone else to 3D print it, but like it'll be cheaper than me doing it all myself.
Nice. We got Landon doing a shout out for his own show here. He said on Fridays he's doing the Landon Huber Experience, which means there's one tomorrow. I'm gonna have to check that out, Landon. That's the show you were talking about a little bit ago, right? That you kind of pre-record them, but they're kind of live. And I don't know. I need to watch it. I got too absorbed in the drama. That's I don't know, Frank, if you've ever had that where like there's like an internet beef or something, and you get like sucked
Oh
into
yeah,
the drama.
oh yeah. It's even happening in the TTRPG world, and like I just want to like learn some stuff, and then like, well, the 5e crowd and this crowd and their
Yeah.
walk and their
You start
Grognard
finding
and their this,
all the different sects and they're split, and
and
yeah.
there's like, oh, we're OSR, but this is what OSR means to me, and if you're this or that. Like, I just want to play.
The next thing you know, Frank, it'll be like, are you part of OSR Gate? You're like, I don't know. Why are we adding Gate to everything? What is going on?
Well, there was something recently where, and there was a gate thing. It was like, yeah, it didn't last that long. It was just
Yeah.
and I'm still, now since I'm still new, and I was trying to figure out like what's going on, what's the context. So you want to like say, yeah, I'm for this or against this. I was just like, I'm just trying to figure out what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Oh man. But yeah, the drama was entertaining. It was entertaining to check out. It made me happy that I haven't gotten super involved in any of the infighting stuff. With can we just make comics? Can we do that? I like that club. I don't know what that's called. Maybe that we could call that Kremble Gate. That's like being a fan of making comics and shutting the hell up and just making good work. I don't know.
And,
Can that be a thing? Can that be a thing, Frank?
we tried that once. I think adding gate to it is just like
Yeah, that's true. What if you had a gate movement that was literally about gates?
the gates.
Like, like you have factions of people who are like really big fans of like opening like metal gates, and then other people are like more fans of like wooden gates. And it's like
The gate drama.
Mm-hmm. And then there's like secret video footage of like, I like my gate that opens on the left. My gate opens on the right side. Yeah. It could happen.
Yeah, the no
Hashtag
gate.
gate.
There's no gatekeepers here. Just you want to make comics? Come on in.
Yeah, I agree. How is so a lot of this awesome role playing stuff? How are the comics? Have you been kind of taking a pause on the comics?
I took a pause, but I want to get back to it because because I have a couple of characters that I wrote up, and I think I talked about it last time. Like, you know, I can turn this into a little story. I just have to change some things because I'm using terms from specific games that, like, okay, I might not be able to use those terms.
Yeah.
But, and I know there's with the OGL, but I don't think that affects comics. But just to be on the safe side, I'll change some stuff.
Do you remember the Magic Missile video from years ago?
No,
This is like a YouTube classic. This is back when we were doing BIPT. We used to play this clip all the time. Hang on a second. Let me find it for you, so everybody can enjoy the Magic Missile. It transcends geekdom because it's like somebody doing live action role playing, and people who even like role playing will still find this humorous. Let's see, Magic Missile. Let me find it for you guys. Am I freezing, by the way?
No,
My
you're
internet
fine.
connection seems kind of wacky. Okay, let me see if I can find this. Play it for you guys. An internet classic. If it's there, it should be there. Yeah, here it is. Yes. Okay. Hold on. Does it have advertising on it? Okay, it doesn't. Are you guys ready? This is like internet classic. I think it has 1.8 million views.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I don't remember.
It'll probably ring a bell. You've probably seen it. Present.
Probably before I was into RPG, so I didn't really know what what it meant. Because now I know it's a spell.
Well, yeah. You'll know that now. Let's see here. Present. And let's do share screen. Well, okay, here it is, guys. Can everybody see this okay? Everybody see this this Magic Missile stuff? Wait, it's not on the screen here.
Okay, I see it now.
Okay. Trying to size it. Okay. There we go. You guys ready?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Here we go. And What is going on with my internet is so bad. Okay, can you hear it?
Now it's time for the final
Yes.
battle. Now it's time for the final battle. Magic missile! Magic missile! Magic missile! Magic missile! Magic missile! Magic missile! I'm out of mana. I need a
Okay, that was Magic Missile.
Okay.
Internet classic. Yeah. Anyhow.
Well, I haven't seen that video, but I've never done it. But I've heard of people that would do that on 4th of July with the Roman candles, and then they just use it to shoot at each other.
Yeah, but I love
Which
that.
Magic missile. I don't recommend because you're throwing a fireball at someone. So.
I'm out of mana. I love that one. Anyhow, Kevin Cross and I, like when we used to do a podcast, we'd play that every once in a while.
Oh,
that's
so,
like from a long era ago when like you had "Why Must I Cry." You remember the "Why Must I Cry" video?
Yes.
Why must I cry? Why must I cry? Yeah. It's funny that
there's some YouTubers that I follow and been watching their stuff for a while, that they're like from an internet era as well, so they'll reference different things, like different memes, and "Why Must I Cry?"
The old memes. Yeah. The old memes are great, man. You gotta love them.
Look, I got this in the mail yesterday. So Sky had done a video on stickers, and he showed a really cool Trapper Keeper. So I was like,
you were like, I need a Trapper Keeper. Yeah. I feel like you should get a Lisa Frank one with like a unicorn. That's awesome though. I used to have one of my favorite Trapper Keepers. I should look this up and see if they have it. When I was a kid, there was a Trapper Keeper I had. What's up?
There's a paint splatter one. They don't have that many of a selection, but there's some.
Okay, because when I was a kid, there was one that I had that I was in love with, and it was a skateboarder in the foreground. Like you just see the arm holding the skateboard, and then then the whole image is a roller coaster. So it's like the guy's holding the skateboard in the foreground, about to hop on this roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
And it was the coolest illustration, and when it was probably from like 3rd grade or something. Instead of listening to my teachers, I used to just like use my pencil drag my pencil across the different parts of the roller coaster, pretending I was skateboarding on it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I used to love Trapper Keepers.
Yeah, there were Trapper Keepers, and then those little pencil box things that were like automatic pencil boxes where you'd like press a button and like a sharpener would pop up. Do you remember those?
I don't think I had one of those.
Well, I don't even know if I ever had one, but I know they were in class. But they were really cool. They had it was like this rectangular compartment with different buttons, and you'd press them and like different parts would pop out,
Oh, cool. I don't think.
Yeah. It was like around the era of slap bracelets,
Okay, yeah.
Which are a thing still,
Yeah. I know that.
I like that Landon just did a drive-by promo and then could care less. Like, I'm out, Landon out.
I know how to go in
on his Friday show. I'll just show up and be like, check out my Joshua Kemble's art stream. Bye. Landon out.
I'll have to do that too.
Yeah. Frank, we should do drive-by promotions on Landon's channel. Just go in there and go, hey, Landon, nice to see you, buddy. Did you check out Salazar Art Nation today? Bye. Did you check out Roll for Toronto? It's a really entertaining show. Bye. What do you think?
Yes. That
I'm
sounds right
teasing.
up my alley.
I'm teasing Mr. Huber. I actually do want to check out Landon's show though.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen him dropping the videos, but I haven't like been in one of those streams.
So am I crazy? Was there like a mod beef between you and Landon?
It started here, you remember?
I don't.
Well,
Okay, you got to recap this.
the,
Maybe
the,
I
beef,
will
the,
remember.
beef, the beef itself.
Yes.
It was when I banned Landon on your stream.
I don't remember this. You have to tell me.
It's been a while, but I'm trying to remember. It was around time where a lot of stuff was happening to me publicly.
Okay.
So it was just coming off of that, and then I think Landon was saying something in the chats, but this was a time where I didn't really talk to Landon that much, so I didn't really understand his cadence.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be giving warnings like, hey, just because I think he was saying something. He was like giving you advice, but it sounded like he was like telling you what to do. Like, Landon, let the guy work.
I love it.
So there's some misunderstanding, and I said something, and then he like flipped me off, and I was like, okay,
wow.
So I this is a while back, so I'm probably forgetting things.
Yeah, this is long ago, long buried.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to paint Landon or myself in specific lights. It's just what I recall.
It honestly just sounds like a goofy thing that happened. It doesn't sound like a super serious.
So I had banned him and not allowed his comments for a little bit, and I told him like for stuff like that, when you can't have people just flipping off your mods, because you lose the crowd.
Yeah,
and I try to give warnings, and like I'm not here to.
Hey, you guys, pay good attention to this because Frank is my mod, so don't go flipping Frank off in my chats, okay? I'm just saying, I'm not responsible for what happens.
I'm not there to like, hey guys, hey, listen, let the show be the show. Just behave yourselves, and like I understand most of the humor.
Yeah.
But it's when it starts getting targeted. Like, I'm not gonna explain why I put you in timeout. I give you a warning, and that's it. And I do that with everyone. So so that can sometimes rubs people the wrong way, and it carries over. So it carried over from here to Jeff's stream. I was like, that's a whole different stream. I'm not here to argue about that. I was like,
wow,
so I think we talked that out. I had him on the show, and I didn't really want to talk about it on the show, but like afterwards we talked it out, and so I told him some of the behind the scenes stuff that was going on. But it's been fine. So Gabe has been doing the Arcast After Dark.
Yeah,
and I haven't been
really entertaining, by the way.
And I haven't been on all of them because I've been more focused on Roll for Turaco, and I hadn't been getting notifications.
Yeah.
So I subscribed recently so I can get notifications on that channel as well. So
you subscribed to Gib. I think Jeff was teasing you about that.
Yeah. So
I think you were subscribed. You just hadn't clicked.
I was subscribed on Salazar Nation, not on Roll for Turaco, because I didn't want that. I want that just to be the gaming stuff that I focus on getting notifications.
Full disclosure, guys, Frank has like 50 alt accounts, so all of my subscribers are actually just Frank. I just wanted to share that with people. That's how I have. I'm just kidding, but Frank does have a few accounts, only a few. But yeah, anyhow, sorry. Go ahead.
So when I came in, and I think I found out on yours because I guess Landon had banned you by accident.
Yeah. And we were gonna kind of razz him about it. Riz is hitting on someone,
yeah.
huh? I think
So,
Raz
so,
is.
so when I went on there and I saw like, oh, Landon has a wrench, I was like, well, where's my wrench? Give. So that's just an ongoing joke where I'll go like, "Where's my
Nice.
wrench? I don't see a
The
wrench."
battle. I think you guys should make it like the battle for the wrench. You know, the
Yeah.
the exploding battle for the wrench. But yeah, you know, I don't know. Yeah, you gotta not flip off mod. Just a tip.
And
You know.
I never flip off Landon when he's a mod.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, I don't flip anyone off. I just don't.
Frank is always flipping people off. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's like his when he holds up his hands, it's just middle fingers. It's like all of his fingers have been replaced with just 5 middle fingers on each hand.
Edward Middle Finger Hands.
Yeah. That's a great character. He's just a guy who's like trying to be nice and waving at people, but like all he has is middle fingers. So like everyone's offended and thinks that he's flipping them off when he's just trying to say hello. So he ends up in all these.
An episode of Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Where someone flipped off George, and it turned out that he was in an accident, and the way that it was cast was only the middle finger. So he's like waving him like, "Yeah, go," and then George is like chasing him.
And it just turns out that's so great. That would make sense that was done for Seinfeld, though. I need to rewatch those again. Like I started rewatching them on Netflix, you know, and it was so good. It was like they definitely held up. Like they're very funny, well written shows, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy because I'm not like a giant fan of like Seinfeld's stand up alone, you know.
Yeah.
But there's something about the dude from Curb Your Enthusiasm combined with Jerry where like they just made like such a good show. It's insane. Yeah. But I also like really like that kind of awkward humor. Like that to me is the magic spot for humor for me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I like Seinfeld. I watched it till the end. The last episode was okay.
Yeah. The best last Seinfeld episode. Have you seen the Curb Your Enthusiasm Seinfeld finale?
No, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
That's great. That's like the Seinfeld finale that
Seinfeld
deserved. Yeah, it's kind of amazing. It's like a meta Seinfeld finale. We've been going for an hour. I'm gonna put on a trailer for let's see, which trailer should we play? Let's play the fun one. Kids Say Kemble with by Jim Lujan.
You know, the Georgia kids say the craziest thing.
So, little Susie, do you have any brothers or sisters? I understand you're in 3rd grade. How do you like that? Do you like your teacher? You like to do a lot of fun things at school? You got any hobbies, Susie? Any things you like to do when you're not in school? I hear you like to read.
Well, right now I'm reading 2 stories written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. It grapples with faith and mental illness. It's ultimately a story about redemption. It's a savage piece of writing. Also, I just finished up Jacob's Apartment, another one by Kemble. Jacob's Apartment weaves together elements of spiritualism and relationship dynamics, as well as atheism, and all the while it deals with abandonment and loyalty. It's a fierce read.
Do you like ponies?
So are we actually going to get an Artcasters RPG thing going?
I was just thinking about that right now. So I want to do a promo for yours, and I was thinking like, I could do like we're doing an RPG. Like, all right, and you see a bookshelf. What book do you get? And the elf or dwarf are like, 2 stories by Joshua
Nice.
Kemble.
I like it. You're in a dungeon. You have 2 options. Which book will open the secret passageway?
But yeah, I do want to do a Nardcaster's RPG. I'm also thinking of how to do it because there are virtual tabletops, but since I do it on my phone,
Yeah.
I'm not able to use those because I did try once. But I was thinking like if we have someone like, and for that, mostly it would be the dice rolls, so everyone sees the dice rolls fairly.
Yeah.
For that, I was thinking either someone like you or Corey. The way you have your setup, that you have a 2-camera setup, so one of you would be the official dice roller for the entire group. So if I say I need
Nice.
a roll for something, then you would do it, and then I would say, okay, this is what the dice roll means. This is what you have to do.
Nice. I feel like you have such a rad collection of dice, though. Would it be possible for you to just roll the dice?
I can, but like I would have to just have it focused on just the dice, and you wouldn't see me.
Oh,
Like,
that wouldn't be as fun. It would be cool to just use like a random dice generator kind of thing or something.
And yes, that's what I'm thinking. But I would have to show it on the screen, and or unless someone with a can just do a random dice generator on their screen.
Yeah, we could do that. We could set that up. My main thing would be, I think, to get people involved, the key thing would be it'd have to be like very, very low level engagement, like in the sense of something we could all do like maybe once a month or something, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's another thing because I want to do a one shot to start off with, and then from there we can do like some other adventures if you want.
That would be amazing.
And that's why I'm thinking like something a little bit more geared to what we actually do. Just having some fun with it, like some artists. I got a bunch of artists going on adventures.
Yeah.
And then from there, okay, let's this adventure's over. We'll go on.
I like it.
New characters, and I do want to use the basic fantasy
I
core
like it.
rules, and they allow, or I think it's 4 official classes and races, but there's extra supplements.
Nice.
So I don't see like what everyone would like to play because there's a well, we'd probably roll for that, but if you want the option, like I want to be a druid, then okay, I can allow druids.
Dude, we gotta get that going on. I think Gary would do it. I think we could get Gary. I think we could get Scott. I think we could get Corey. I think we could get a crew. You know.
Yeah. I think just scheduling a day where we're able to do.
Yeah.
Because we usually stream we stream for about an hour or 2.
Yeah.
So I think that would be like a good amount to do a short adventure, even if it's just like meeting everyone. I'm this and I'm that. And
yeah, I'll make a theme song for it. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. I think that would be awesome. Dude, so here's what my plan is. I was hoping to tone this entire page, but my wife has picked up some delicious McDonald's breakfasts, and I want McDonald's breakfast. So I think what I'm going to do is finish up toning this panel and then call it for this stream.
Mhm.
I'll be streaming off.
I should make some breakfast too and get some coffee.
Nice. So I think maybe 10 or 15 more minutes, and then we'll call it for this stream.
All right.
But,
well, I'd like to put a plug for a podcast I listen to.
Nice. Yes, go for it.
All right. So I listen to the Quantum Leap podcast, the official Quantum Leap podcast. I think it's quantumleappodcast.com, but also they're on YouTube. And their latest episode that they just dropped on the podcast itself, they're revisiting What Price Gloria? So it's the first leap where Sam leaps into a woman. And if you listen to the whole thing and towards the end, there's fan feedback, and you're going to hear a familiar name because I sent an email and they read part of it on there, and they even riff on me a little bit because I mentioned something from one of the other hosts, because from their channel, because I mentioned the two channels that I watch. Well, they're a married couple, and one of them is the host of co-host of the show.
Okay.
So I followed it from there. So I mentioned something that she did on her channel, and she's like, "Oh, great, yeah. No one's gonna know who the F is this character that we made up."
That's awesome. That's cool.
So
Though, Frank, 'cause you've been listening. That's so awesome though, because you've been listening to that podcast for a while now. You know, like you've mentioned it before, so I'm glad that you're getting like on there too. You know, because I can imagine that would mean a lot.
Patreon. I want to join their Patreon, but I kind of limit how many I join.
Yeah,
and so I don't have like so many and so much money going out. But yeah, because they'll do content that's not on the podcast, but it's on the Patreon. So like, there's stuff that, oh man, I want to listen to those. Yeah,
I love it. Oh man, yeah. I have the same thing where I have especially now, you know, now that I'm going through like a career change. I have a very limited budget, so I have a few Patreons that I support, mainly because I don't want to have to be supporting so many Patreons that I then have to email every Patreon and say I went broke, I can't support anything. Like, you know,
yeah.
So it's one of those things of you have to be kind of selective with who you're supporting financially. You know, especially
right
as
now
the budget gets slimmer.
Scott, and I support Thomas Clemens, so both artists, and they're both active. But I've had to drop some other ones before because they weren't as active. So when I dropped those, I think that's when I picked up Thomas Clemens.
Nice. I will recommend people to, if you're doing a Patreon too, Jim Luhan's Patreon is awesome. Just want to throw that out there. Shout out to Jimmy the Loots, as I call him. Where was I working there? Okay. I also wanted to ask, like, are you doing stuff on Roll for Tarako regarding this kind of following along your adventure of role playing, or is this mostly just in the forums?
I mentioned a little bit because since it just started the game, and I don't know like what the GM wants out there because it's still an ongoing campaign. So I mentioned a little
and I guess like you kind of want to, like, especially if it's an actual role playing thing. Some of that, you know, people prefer private. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I won't like talk about that, but I did do a video. Now I'm gonna do 2 more videos, but I did a video where I show how I drew the Leffy character on screen, which I didn't record, but I took screenshots, and then I just talked a little bit about the character, and I do mention that the name itself is an homage of Jeff Lafferty, and I do talk a little bit about Jeff to give people context. But I do say anything happening in the game has nothing to do with Jeff. It's whatever the dice rolls tell me. But I've come up with a backstory.
A biography of Jeff. It's like everything that happens.
Well, I don't want to get sued and no, the name is an homage, and I did kind of give him a little bit of his features, but everything else, it's just stuff that I come up with. Yeah. A lot of stuff is developed during the game, so I'm interested in what that character kind of turns out to be.
Yeah. The only downside of like role playing is when you have a really mean GM and like they kill off your character in like a day. You're like, oh great, I spent like a month building this thing, you know. Yeah.
No, we did our characters pretty quickly. I was actually the one delaying the game. I didn't even realize because I'm like, oh, I need 2 rolls, and there's like stats like I don't know what this means, and he said like just put the main stuff and I'll figure it out. And like, oh, okay,
Nice.
and then like, okay, fine, I got it, and I put it up there. So I'm trying not to like derail the game, like, and I post as often as I can so it doesn't delay because of something I said or did.
Yeah, I mean, and there, like, the thing is, there's always going to be a learning curve when you're starting those things. Like for me, I haven't role played since like junior high, dude. So I would have to, like, I would have a major learning curve, where it's like I forget a lot of the specifics of like how to even do that. So,
Oh yeah, and what I like about this system and some other simpler systems, like all OSR systems, that it's rulings over rules. So it's what the GM kind of like, and I think that's all games, but some are more strict on the rules. But it's up to the GM or DM's discretion. Like,
yep.
Yeah, I'll allow this. So that's fine. Like, no, you got to roll for this, and okay. So since most of us were kind of, well, I'm new there. The GM is new at GMing that type of style, but he does run other games. So there's stuff that he kind of allows, especially because we don't have a thief in our party.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I didn't say anything, but I was thinking like, maybe a heads up on like, oh man, maybe someone should get this class or that class. Because he is kind of like allowing a little bit more things, and which is cool, but like it would just be easier if we had a thief.
Yeah. It's true. It can be hard with a thief, especially if it's like a campaign that really requires a thief. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was mostly for this part where we're starting, because that's something that he's kind of doing.
The campaign is literally called like The Thief in the Night or something, and it's like, oh crap. Anyhow, sorry. Just joking. But
I think it's we meet in a dungeon, so we start in a dungeon. So like, okay. Well, it's been fun. We're just getting out of the cell now. We had an encounter with some giant cockroaches, and but luckily, one of the guards got in the way, so we just let them fight each other out while we ate our rations and then snuck away.
Nice, very, very good. I like that. Just let them kind of, beef with each other. Don't get too involved with the jailer.
We had the option that you can join it. Well, who are we fighting for? The roaches or for the guard? The guard's gonna kill us. The roaches can kill us if we agitate it. So like,
nice, very political move there. I like it.
Let them fight.
I like it. Playing Switzerland can be advantageous sometimes,
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, why would you be fighting for the jailers against like, that just doesn't make sense. Like, why are you going to defend the jailers, risk your life? Like, they have you in jail, you know? So, yeah, I like this.
If I were a druid, and this is low level, so I don't even have any spells as a cleric, but if I were a druid and there's a druid, I probably would have like, well, let me try and befriend the roach.
Yeah.
Since that's not what I'm playing, I kind of just stick to like, well, what I can do.
Yeah. And That's right, guys. Watch out. If you're a druid out there, be careful, man. Frank Salazar gonna sit idly by while you get in a giant army war with jailers and cockroaches. I like it. Man, the only thing that's gonna stink about this page. Okay, we'll get there. I have to finish at least this panel before I can allow myself to eat.
Okay.
Do you have stuff like that, like where you come up with like weird little things? And then I also had a question regarding, I feel like, Frank, you have a pretty vast knowledge of 80s stuff. Am I wrong? Like 80s cartoons, things like that?
Well, I just came back from the 80s and brought back a Trapper Keeper.
I like it. I like it.
I have some
Straight
knowledge.
up Mr. Fusion used to get there too, I'd imagine.
I had made a Mr. Fusion once, and it was just a 3-liter bottle
I love
that
it.
I cut, and I printed out a sheet of paper where I had the Mr. Fusion logo, taped it, and I think I just like suddenly taped it on my mom's car, and I took a picture,
I love it.
then took it off because my mom would get mad.
So I had a curiosity, and I was wondering if you maybe remember this. Do you remember Mask?
Yes.
Okay, what was the premise of that? Because I had a couple of the toys as a kid. I had like the van that like opened up and had like a helicopter in it, and the characters, the toys had like a little guy that would like fit in these vehicles that would transform, kind of, and then
Yeah,
like
like
they had a
this.
mask, but I don't remember what the plot of the.
I know MASK stands for something. It's MASK. But yeah, I remember the premise, like what it was, but they're like this secret agency, and they
wore
were like
masks.
they wore masks, and they weren't even masks; they were helmets. So
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. It's funny. I'm even calling them masks now because of the effective brainwashing. But you're right; it was just helmets.
yeah, and the helmets would kind of they would transform or to get be in their vehicle. They had the robot, which is cool, and they had those after school specials that like, oh, don't do this, because so there was one that always stuck out to me because it didn't really make the message was good, but it didn't make sense because they were using the robot as an example, where he puts a plastic bag over his head because he's playing and then he can't breathe. He's a robot.
Yeah, you know what's weird is, do you think like, because I don't think there's as many like anti-drug PSAs for kids anymore. Do you think
And
like
to bring it
little
back,
kids are just like crazy about drugs nowadays because like they don't have the PSAs from the 80s? You know,
maybe I don't know.
I wonder if I went to like my kids' school and they're just all like, rocking like black tar heroin or something, and it's like, man, we should have kept those PSAs. You know, it's like you have a bunch of like 3rd and 4th graders just hitting the sauce. It's like, oh, we needed those PSAs. Like, what happened?
Well,
Jim has a question.
they shaped us kind of, so yeah.
Jim said, one group or artist to do the soundtrack for your life story movie, who would it be? And he said that's going to be my question of the day, as well for Christopher Runciman. Who would be your the soundtrack of your life? That's a tough one.
Oh man, I know who's usually the soundtrack. That could be one of them. But if we're just choosing one, I'm thinking Twisted Sister, and we're keeping the 80s.
Nice.
And I've been listening to just one of their songs, Scandal. Patti Smith. Patti Smith is she's singing it. So they did a song called "The Warrior," and it's in the movie The Warriors. And the video for that is very 80s. And you should watch it. Some stuff's funny, and it's a really good song. Like, I am the warrior.
I love it.
There's a part where, and there's a video out there. If you look up Professor of Rock, he's like this 80s guys, and he loves music, and he had interviewed her once, and there's a video where he's talking about how she hated the video, but the video was very popular, and she talks about the reasons why she hated it, but also kind of also appreciated it because she was able to have a little bit more privacy, because she didn't get famous on it because they made her wear like kabuki makeup, chopped off her hair, and she was wearing like a kimono, so people didn't recognize her.
Oh wow, okay.
But the video was very popular. And the song was very popular, but people didn't recognize her. So it didn't advance her career
Yeah, that's what happens
until
every time I do a show with Frank. It's like I look nothing like myself, and then Frank gets all the clout from it, but it gets huge. That's I'm trying to think. Like that's a hard question to answer, man. Like, yeah, soundtrack of your life. That's a rough one. That's a rough one to answer. I mean, I definitely have favorite bands. Like, I think my favorite band of all time is Fugazi.
okay.
My wife
You're
said,
roboting, but I'm not sure if it's
"Hey."
on your end or my end because I'm well in charge.
Okay. I'm not. I don't know if I'm roboting. We got to know in the Thomas or Jim. Let us know if one of us is roboting out. You seem clear to me,
Yeah,
Frank.
I'm not sure if it's on my end because I'm well in charge, but I just plugged in my charger.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, you're coming in clearly,
so
but I don't know if I'm roboting
okay.
out. So usually, if
Oh,
I
okay.
robot out, it kind of affects my feed too. But there's times where it doesn't. So I guess just let us know if you're watching.
All right.
Jim said, "In heart to heart, we win." Nice. So my wife said cake.
Okay. Oh, before we leave, do you want me to make a Facebook Messengers group just for the Artcasters RPG, and then I'll invite everyone in who wants to stay in, stays, and then we can just discuss it more. And
Yeah, dude, let's make it happen. Because I mean, if you're down to set up the campaign and stuff, like we could happily like do a
yeah,
stream where we do that. And I'm sure like between Corey and Scott and me, like we can figure out like where we'd host it or whatever. I don't even mind it being on your Roll for Tarako channel. I think that would be really cool. And
I
maybe
did recently set up StreamYard on Roll for Truckle, so it's able to stream.
yeah, that'd be perfect.
Uh,
Yeah. So then we could just have
uh,
one of us do the. I mean, it doesn't sound like it would be like logistically impossible. Jim, you're in the chat.
yeah,
Let us know if you would participate if we did an online RPG, hosted by Frank, where he GMs a role playing game for a couple hours on a weekend or something. Would you be down? I'd be down. I think it would be hilarious. I think we could do it monthly,
yeah.
and it would be really fun. I really do think that would actually be really fun. So I'm down. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure everybody else would be.
I'll work on a campaign, but I think if we get people say like, yeah, I want to be in it, that way you can roll your characters, and I'll trust that you're gonna roll honestly, not like I'm gonna change this. So I'm
Yeah, and like a
ultimate
way to generate some interest about it too could be like you could. This is just a tip. I don't know if you'd want to do this, Frank, but like what you could do is go on each person's channel and help them set up their character, right, and have them do all the roles and stuff for it. And then like
Okay, yeah,
that
that
way
actually would
every
be
channel is doing like promotion for the Roll for Tarako episode where it'd be everybody meets and does their thing. That's how I would do it if I were you. Because I think that would be hilarious and
yeah.
awesome. So and then
All
each
right, cool,
person's
cool.
channel is like
Depending on
promoting the event, as it comes up.
yeah, yeah. I think depending on the amount of people, but if at least four, then you can have all the four classes unless you just we all want to be thieves
Yeah.
and or we all want to
So
be
what are the classes?
this and that. Well, I have it right here.
Oh, I love it.
So you have, let's see, I'm in the spells right now. Let me move that.
Oh, okay. Thomas
So
said you roboted out a little bit, and Jim said he hasn't heard any robots, so that's good. Okay, so we're good.
Okay. All right. So there is a thief. There's magic user, so that's a wizard, cleric, and fighter.
Nice.
And your races, there's humans, halflings, dwarves, and elves. But there are supplemental classes and races. I think with the races, just having those core is fine.
Yeah.
But but I do want to make some supplemental classes, uh, like that are artist related, and I
Nice.
might even there is a bar. It's not an official class, but there's a bard class. And there's supplements for that, and I think if adding some subclasses to that, or adding abilities that can combine all these to make like a creator class. So like so
I like it.
whichever you want to do, like, well, I want to focus more on crafting, so that would be an inventor. And I'm thinking for that, like Scott might like it, or someone else might want to, like, I want to be an inventor since.
Yeah, for me, I'm like all about the wizard business, unless this is straying more towards Final Fantasy, because in Final Fantasy, the most important character, well, honestly, in a lot of RPGs, the fighter can be one of the most important characters, because you got your barbarian, and you need a good, solid barbarian if you got a crew. So, but I have to
There is
say, I stray towards
there is
wizard
a
every
supplement
time.
for a barbarian. So yeah.
I love it. But yeah, I
And
feel like, man, that would be fun. And I have a feeling like a lot of people would dig being a lot of things. I'd want to be a wizard just to be able to do cool wizard voices while things are
yeah.
going down, where I could be like, "Whoa there." Yeah. So, anyhow. Yeah, you should make a Facebook group. Let's get it going. I guarantee, at least I think most people would be down to spend a couple hours on the weekend rocking an RPG. Especially modded by you, Frank. I think most of us would be like in support of that. So that'd be a lot of fun.
Okay.
And worst
Yeah,
case
and
scenario,
well,
like, here's
and
the beauty of it too. Even if it's like it utterly fails, it still will be really funny content. Like, I think it'll be good content online, even if it like goes badly. I think it'll just be fun. So yeah, I love it. But I think it'll work.
cool. And I like the idea of creating our characters on each other's channels, and so during that time you're able to develop your character a little bit. You don't have to go full in backstory
Yeah,
if you want to, but
but you
just
could
getting
like
all your
walk
stats
us.
ready.
Yeah, and you could walk us through it, and that way we're like kind of creating the character on a stream, and then from there, like, once we all have our characters, we meet up and rock it. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So I like it. I like it a lot. I have one wall left. One wall left to rock before I can have my breakfast. How are
To
your?
Rocco.
By the way, are you still doing sketch cards and stuff?
Yes, actually, I just sold two sketch cards to two Rocky sketch cards. I got $10 for one, and one I sold for 5 because it's a person that buys a lot for me, so I'll cut him some deals.
Nice.
And I mean, I made this one as a sketch card, but no one's gonna buy it. This is just my character.
You're like, this one
But,
is not for sale.
And I did an owlbear sketch card. No one's had much interest in those. I did do Beastman, and I had done Skeletor before, so I want to do Castle Grayskull and some other He-Man characters.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm digging
And it's
it.
just like a focus on, like, spend a week or like I'm just gonna do these many cards and then see and push them out. And,
where can people check out your sketch cards and all that fun stuff?
let's see. Well, if you go to Salazar Art Nation, there is a link in most of the videos going to my link tree. And in there, you will find my Etsy store, and there are some cards on Etsy. But if you want to commission, you can just contact me directly, and we can talk about it. Usually, commissions I'll start charging like just $20, and and I think that's good to start with. That $20 should be a good price for a commission.
Awesome.
I think anything would.
And where can people watch your kind of journeys on role playing and fun things like that?
You can find Roll for Truckle on YouTube, and I also have a Roll for Truckle Instagram. And if you follow me on Facebook, my Roll for Truckle Instagram and Salazar Art Nation Instagram are connected to my regular Facebook page. So when I post something there, it just goes directly to Facebook, so you can see what I'm doing there. So the best way is the Roll for Truckle channel and Salazar Art Nation channel. That's where you can see all the art stuff and different things that I'm working on. And I talk about books and systems. I'm going to do some videos. I do some art videos on Roll for Truckle as well, creating some monsters and different characters. So yeah.
All right, I love it. Okay, so I am obviously Joshua Kemble. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications when we're about to go live. Thanks for hanging out with me, Frank, and keeping me company. I will be working on comics probably all day, so obviously make sure you've hit that bell. And then in the interim, while I'm eating breakfast and stuff, if you guys get bored, I do encourage you guys to check out the drama between Eric July and Dick Masterson. If anything, it's just hilarious and entertaining. And it shows you just the insanity of the internet. And then I would also say, make sure you guys are getting out there supporting independent artists like Frank and other people in our circle. And stay tuned, because it does sound like Frank's probably going to do this role playing thing with everybody. And so Frank's going to set up that Facebook. But obviously, if you guys are in the Artcasters crew, keep an eye out for Frank's invite on that, because it sounds like a fun thing. Frank, hope you have a good breakfast or late breakfast, maybe lunch at this point. And what's our time difference now? I think you're at like what, 12 or 1?
It's 11:35 a.m., so it's still before lunch.
So 2-hour difference. Okay, cool. Well, enjoy. I think I've frozen a little bit here. Thanks to everybody who's watched this. Philip just popped in. Hi, Philip. Thanks, Jim and Thomas and Landon for the drive-by promo that he did. And we'll see you guys on the next live stream. Thanks again, Frank. It's always fun to hang out. Bye, guys.